everybody, Dr. Chris here, orthopedic surgeon and sports medicine physician. And today, we are going to learn how to chill.
Swearing here?
No.
Party, eh?
In other words, a beginner meditation to relieve stress. Fortunately for you, I brought in a special guest.
Here he comes.
Play John Cena music. Play John Cena music.
And I brought in a special guest, Mr. Rory Thunderbird. Mr. Meditation Guru, to lead us through this exercise today. So normally my life is very stressful. I'm very busy, I work long hours, approximately 80 hours a week, and I'm always on the go. Either working on paperwork, working in the OR, working in the office, seeing patients, doing all kinds of things, and I rarely take time for myself. But it's very important for us to incorporate means of relieving stress so that we can keep ourselves balanced. And today, we're gonna do exactly that, and we're gonna learn beginner meditation.
Here's my spiel for meditation. If you experience any suffering at all, suffering being an umbrella term to refer to anxiety, frustration, anger, sadness, depression, anything that you might perceive as negative, then this is something that you should be practicing. It will help you. I can help you. I can help you.
What you say?
Yeah, so first things first, we're gonna try to connect your heel to your shoulder and your other heel to your mouth. You're gonna sit like this for an hour, and I'm gonna hum chants. Okay, first thing you guys need to know about anything about meditation is we want to alleviate as much tension and pressure from the outside environment or from your body as possible. So it's important to be in a comfortable situation when you're trying to focus your mind, because if you're someone who hasn't practiced ever, then the first thing we want to do is eliminate as many variables as possible. Either sitting or laying down in a position something like this. Basically, you want your back straight or straight. This is so that all of our energy centers, which is something we might talk about in a future video, are stacked in a nice line. If you're someone who doesn't practice and isn't like super flexible and a super ninja, if you're a regular person, you're gonna wanna sit on something if you are wanting to sit at all. When you're sitting on something, you will find that if you have a tight groin, you're gonna be uncomfortable. So we need to work a little bit on our groin. If your glutes are tight, it's going to be screwing with your posture, so you want to work a bit on your glutes. If your hips are tight, it's also going to screw you up, so we're going to focus mainly on our glutes, our groin, and our hips in this little stretching routine here. So if you're someone who's like, oh, I walk into a situation where there's a whole bunch of stress, i.e. a whole bunch of variables, and you find yourself getting frustrated, as someone who's teaching this, I would say, yeah, what the hell do you expect? When do you practice? How many hours a day do you practice? Do you practice? Has someone ever taught you what the hell you're doing? We're gonna start by focusing on our breathing. You're gonna pick a place in the respiratory tract where you feel your breathing with your senses. Feel the air at the tip of your nose, that's great. If you feel it in your lungs or in your chest, that's also great. Just take a couple deep breaths here. Where'd you go? Here. He's picked right in his heart chakra, heart center. We're not gonna go into that today, but he's picked here. So we're going to focus on that area that you chose. I just want you to breathe. You're observing the breathing. You're focusing on the breathing, but there is no intention. By intention, I mean you have no aim, you have no goal. You're literally just focusing on the breath, and you're focusing on the breath in that spot. Super simple. Now, inevitably, as you're doing this, you're going to feel your mind wander, thoughts come in, emotions come up. Maybe physically in your experience, you're like, damn, my back's a little tight. Every time something comes up, the whole point is to refocus. So when I think of meditation, I think about the act of refocusing, really. at its most basic level. And we keep our focus on the spot, whatever you pick. We keep breathing. And when stuff comes up, we refocus. Awesome. Now I want you just to kind of speak to me about any change in sensation that you've started to feel, or if you've had any thoughts come in. Can you just talk a little bit about that? What's happening in your mind?
I found my attention wander, like you said, and then it's just a practice to try to restore that. And I'm a visual person, so I've tried to put some imagery to it as well, so that even though I have my eyes closed, in my mind's eye, I can visualize myself looking at this thing. And when thoughts come into my head, a thought will come into my head, or I'll hear a noise, and then I think about turning my mind's eye back to that thing.
That's what people don't seem to understand, is that every repetition, the refocusing, that is practicing. That's like a rep. That's a repetition. Do the reps. How often do you do that?
Never.
Once you can isolate that thing, as you have done now, when you find yourself in any situation, as your awareness wanders and you begin to focus on maybe something that you don't want, you practice what you just did and you just bring it back. You know what I mean? And that's something that you can practice all the time. So having awareness of your awareness enables you to make this a thing that you are constantly doing consciously. Whereas before you did it sometimes unconsciously, but in other situations, like where you might be mad, frustrated, focused on traffic, being late, anything, you are not in control. This is how you take back control, just becoming aware of it. And once you have this framework, then as you move through your world, it's not like, I don't understand why I'm pissed off. When you're frustrated, it's easy to understand why you're pissed off, because where's your focus? So if you just go through your day, you can ask yourself, where am I focused right now? Huge question. And the more you ask yourself that question, the stronger it becomes. Because as soon as I ask myself, where am I focused right now? I'm focused on the camera at this moment. Then I'm focused on you. Now I'm focused on my own breath. People are like, well, doesn't that become exhausting? I don't know. Does it become exhausting to take complete control of everything in your life? What is exhausting to me is when I'm not in control of my focus and I'm pissed off at one thing, and then I'm late for dinner with my friend, and then I'm worried because my paper's late, and oh my God, I'm just focused on all these things. You're focusing the whole damn time, but you just have to take control of that thing, become aware of what's happening. That's huge.
When you said that, it just made me think of when I was in university and medical school, I had a problem with attention. It was as if I was watching TV, except somebody else was holding the TV flip. And every time I try to do this and get into the show, someone goes, Ksh. So all day long, if you aren't able to control and refocus, you're walking around trying to deal with.
It sounds to me like you have a very strong focus mechanism. That's a great thing, but it's also a double-edged sword. Because if it's super strong and you're super exacting on what you're focusing on, but you're also not in control of where that focus goes, then you're going to be frustrated all the time. It's like someone's changing the channel on your receiver. How's your back?
My back is okay.
Are you healthy?
Yes, I am.
See what I'm saying? You can here. No, you can sit here. We're gonna do it one more time here. This is something that you guys can practice anywhere, at any time. Isolate the mechanism and eliminate variables, aka meditate. Okay. So make sure our posture is straight. Focus on that spot. And the thought, an idea, an emotion comes into your mind. We're not fighting them. We're gently adjusting our focus back to the thing. When you are focusing on a single point, a single thing, like a very confined concept, we're focusing on that thing. And what is implied is we are focusing on that thing to the exclusion of everything else that is in your awareness. Focus on one thing, everything else could be anything. And if you're able to create that state on command, bringing your focus to a single point, everything else reverts back to possibility. And then as we get more advanced, you can channel that possible energy into something that you desire, a situation that you want to create in your life. That's why it's super important to practice this. It's also important to practice this because when everything else reverts to a state of possibility, we find stillness and calm. So it doesn't take a genius to see he's a little more calm now. So, talk to me a little more. How are you feeling?
I feel relaxed. It's still a battle, and
Pause for 1 second. Battle, struggle, frustration. This is how most of us view the world, and this is how we are taught to view the world, subconsciously and consciously, in our day-to-day life. Recognize that it doesn't have to be a battle. It is growth.
The attention.
If I'm doing a push-up, yeah, of course it does. If I'm doing a push-up, I have the choice. I refer to this as a battle with the ground, or do I think, literally, the ground is helping me grow my muscles? Eliminate that battle mentality from your head, because a battle denotes stress. You gotta think about the things that are intertwined with every concept that you invite into your brain. This is for another episode, but the point is, if I think of something as a battle, what else is that gonna create in me? Simultaneously, I'm practicing, but I'm also creating tension somewhere.
Yeah.
It can be a dance. It can be fun.
Wow.
For this week, your job is to be aware of what you're focusing on, what's on the television screen of your mind, or if it makes more sense to you, what is this like mind's eye looking at? What's it focusing on? Bring it back to the breath. Literally doing that alone will transform your life after a time.
As I do this more, it's easier to sort of fall into this center of breath.
Freaking neural pathway going on here.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
I want to say thanks to Rory Thunderbird for doing this meditation with us.
Very angry,
and leading me in this practice. Please go check out his channel, Rory Time. And I want to say thanks to my son. And as always, that's the word from Dr. Chris, not your everyday ortho.
That shit makes sense?
You know, it does make sense.
Yeah. You can't expect like anything other than what's happening, because that is what you're creating.
I can do my own intro. I don't need him to do my intro.
Hi, I'm Dr. Chris. Like a lot of you, my life is very stressful. So I need to chill the out.
Chill the what?
Chill the out.
Right.
Basically, I've brought in a guru,
And it's actually me. I'm a teacher and I'm also Chris, partially in blood. And today we'll be learning
What are we learning today?
to masturbate.
No, we're not. Oh my God.